We've certainly had benefits from implementing the Builders Code from a business perspective. What that's really led to is maintaining or building a really high retention rate for our female employees.
The BC Builders Code is helping our industry attract and retain talent by setting a standard that is clear, and there's policies that are clear and available. So you don't just have companies making up their own policies per se.
I would say RAM typically held the beliefs that aligned with the Builders Code, but we didn't actually have a real strong policy in place. What the Builders Code allowed us to do is to set a clear and specific standard that helped bring our culture to another level.
When I came in for my first interview, there was a woman in the room who I really liked. I remember when I was doing my first interview ever as a second-year engineering student, I walked into an interview and there was 3 men in their 50s staring me down. That can be very intimidating for a young woman, so I really liked that.
Culture at RAM is very important to us. It's certainly one of our top priorities. We want to ensure that everyone feels safe, feels supported, and feels challenged, and feel like they can actually achieve their dreams and their goals here.
I think worksite culture can impact everybody negatively. Even a white male who might fit in the easiest from like a physical perspective could be really impacted by toxic masculinity if it exists on that job site. For example, my boyfriend, he's an engineer, but he's worked as a laborer for a lot. And he was at one job site with some more rough around the edges laborers who were making some crude comments, and he felt very uncomfortable. So it doesn't just impact the woman who the comments might be about, it can make the men who are involved in there feel very uncomfortable as well.
So RAM actually has an overview of the Builders Code in our employee onboarding. And what that does is it sets a standard of what is acceptable behavior and what isn't, so that employees from day one know how to interact with their colleagues and ensure that everybody else, including themselves, feels empowered to work.
RAM already had a lot of diversity when I entered. A lot of the directors are women. Just in terms of non-women, there's a lot of visible minorities here at RAM. And I think that that mix of people already allows just almost automatically a very inclusive environment. So I think bringing in the Builders Code more just solidified what they were already doing and reinforce that they were doing things the right way.
Certainly, safety is a shared priority in the construction industry, and some examples of that changing outside of personal safety or physical safety to mental and emotional safety are exactly through what the Builders Code is implementing through its policies right now. Specifically looking at actions and events on site with hazing, harassment, bullying. It affects their mental stability, that's their confidence on the job to be able to perform the job, to come up with strong ideas or new ideas, their ability to feel safe, and not just from a mental perspective, but also from a physical perspective, because sometimes hazing, harassment, bullying goes from just words to actual physical violence if people don't nip it in the bud.
I think the elements of the Builders Code that are most effective and powerful is the retention. I think that often there's a misconception that employees should be thankful to be employed. I think it's the opposite. Employers should be thankful to have their employees. If every employee quits because your work culture is horrible, you're not going to have a very successful business.
The Builders Code does a great job in its initiatives to attract and retain talent. Specifically, it's bridging the generational gap and previously held beliefs from senior management on what workplace culture looks like.
I know our owners really pride themselves on RAM being a company that has values and cares about their employees. So this kind of award really just reinforces that what they're doing is creating a positive impact on their employees.
I would say our technical staff and our office team has responded to the Builders Code with positive reviews since it clearly aligns with our values.
I would definitely recommend the Builders Code to other constructors. I think there's a lot of companies that have their best intentions, but maybe don't know where to start or don't have the perspective to know where problems might lie. If you're someone who's maybe never experienced negative behaviors against you on a site, you might not even realize that that kind of culture exists in your company.